Hey everyone, it's time for another Season 4 character wishlist discussion. Once again, Mirror's with me. How's it going, buddy?
Hey man, doing great.
And we're looking back at some of the more lower tier characters right now, and we're going to talk about Zangief today. So, Zangief, man, he's another one of those really delicate characters where if you give him just a little too much, he'll be really crazy. He had his time to shine, but now he's just like extremely weak, I feel, in this season especially. And yeah, we'll see. We'll see what we can give Zangief here. What would you think Zangief was in season 1, Mir? Was he lackluster, you would say?
Well, it definitely wasn't the best. I mean, especially when you had to contend with so many great characters in season 1. But I guess he had his place since he was, one of the few true grapplers in season 1.
Yeah.
And I mean, it definitely got a really big buff in season 2.
Yeah. In season 2, he was definitely amazing. That was his highest point. He was somewhere in top 10, maybe even say top 5. You're really crazy. But his good matchups were good. So in season 2, they made his normals across the board almost all much more plus. They made his headbutt give meter when he neutralized a projectile with it. The lariat hitbox was increased. There were a lot of things they gave him in season 2 that really helped push him much higher, I would say. But then in season 3, they went completely overboard. It seems like Capcom was like, whoa, I think we didn't want Zangief to be this good. And yeah, man, there's a combination of so many reasons why Zangief is considered by many to be bottom 5 right now. But in season 3, for one, Abigail became a character, right? Abigail came in, and a lot of people are like, man, what's the point of playing Zangief when I have Abigail, who does a lot of things that Zangief can't do? And he's also a grappler, right? With a lot of damage.
And it's funny that Abigail was already a character in season 2, in the sense that he was already strong, but for some reason, they buffed him even more in season 3. So, yeah, even people like Itabashi Zangief, which, I mean, you should know his main just by looking at his name. Yeah, he switched to Abigail, and and like that ever since.
I know, it's so weird, man. His name is still Itabashi Zangief, but yeah, he plays Abigail, so that just shows you, So that's one thing. There was the universal throw recovery nerf, and that hurt Zangief a little bit too. Well, it hurt every grappler, but Zangief in particular, right? Because he really, he focuses on landing that EX SPD, whereas Abigail could just poke you out too, right? The universal standing light punch nerf for anti-airs, that hurt Zangief as well. I mean, Zangief can still use the standing light punch as an anti-air, but it's not like mindless where it'll beat heavy normals easily. Like, it had a really good hitbox before.
It works because he's tall, but not because it's an actual anti-air.
Right. And also in season 3, it's a very strong zoning meta right now. Characters like Akuma, Minot, Guile, Ibuki, all these characters can zone out Zangief easily, and they're all top 5 characters. So they're very meta right now. So that gives Zangief problems. And this is just the universal stuff. I'm not even mentioning what they actually nerfed on Zangief specifically. That's a whole other rap sheet. Crouch and Light Punch no longer combos into itself. That really hurt a lot of his Oki and his neutral as well. Crouch and Light Kick no longer special cancelable. More recovery on his forward medium kick, making the move literally useless. And on top of that, we've had a leg reduction patch, Mir, that hurts it even more. And more recovery on Lariat, which I think it hurt Zangief a little bit on, because when Zangief hits the Lariat, it has usually helped him get in easier. But now he has extra 5 frames of recovery, really hurt him. So, a lot of stuff happened in season 3 for Zangief, is what I'm trying to say. A lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to talk about Zangief, Mir, before we head to the wish list part?
Well, I mean, we kind of went over everything already. Like, the fact that you nerfed, well, you as in Capcom nerfed.
Yeah, it's not my fault. You don't blame it on me.
The light confirms is that not only you nerfed his pressure, because of course he can tick you into a throw by doing a light, right? Like a light punch.
Yeah.
You also hurt basically his damage potential, because if he takes you with a crouching light punch, then that's it. Like, you cannot convert it into anything from that. So it's like a lot of like it's a big loss in sticking power, basically, because if you cannot convert it into a combo, like, it's not as valuable, basically.
Right.
And that hurt him, up close, and then from far away for a medium kick, was basically a dash. Like, you kind of used it as a dash that had a hitbox on it.
Yeah.
It was kind of the idea. So, like, nerfing it by 3 frames, or 4, I forget. It's like nerfing a dash by 3 frames, and that makes it so much more reactable.
And it can go over low attacks, which is like one of Zangief's weaknesses, because he's always charging hard punch, right? But that is susceptible to lows. So that's when Zangief would use his forward medium kick to high profile it and then grab you. But now it's not as intuitive anymore because the move is just so slow. It recovers too quickly. Or too slowly, sorry.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of things that, just like I said, small changes to Zangief that really hurt him. That's why he's just a really delicate character. And, going into this wish list here, Zangief is also, not execution-wise, but he is an easy character to pick up, right? He's kind of like Cammy, but he's really hard to win with, right? That's the problem. So
it's like, understanding the game plan is easy, and then the execution behind it might take some practice, especially confirming into super and, doing all kinds of walking SPDs and whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah, otherwise the gameplay is really simple. Get in and try to push your mix up, and then from there you basically got a vortex. And so it's just choosing the right option after that. And if you ever guess wrong, you're back to neutral and you have to get in again.
Right. And he's made to
it's
have
doing
a weakness.
that's hard.
Yeah, he's supposed to have a weakness, right? That's the thing about grappler characters. And that's why he's the extra health to take extra risks to get in. So it seems like Capcom, when you look at these notes, unless Capcom just wants the character to be bad, just straight up bad, and not win, I doubt that's what they intended, but it seems like Capcom really wants to focus on his V-skill, like being Zangief's main tool in neutral, to approaching, to deal with zoning, everything. Like, everything revolves around Zangief's V-skill. And Zangief's V-skill is actually really good, but there's a lot of problems with it too because of the way the system works, especially with the regeneration speed of the V-skill, which we'll talk about in a second here. And it also just barely helps against zoners in general, because you're just not gaining ground. When Zangief's walking, doing that crab walk, you're so slow, and you're barely approaching your opponent in the first place, right?
Yeah.
And like I said, it is hard to give Zangief's buffs without making him really good again. I mean, if Capcom wants to make Zangief really good again, just revert everything back to where he was in Season 2. That's it. Done. Easy. Just revert everything. But if they want to give him some buffs and make him pretty good, that's going to be tough, right? That's going to be tough. Because Zangief still has one of the best grabs in the game. I would have said the best grab if it wasn't for G existing. But EXSPD is insane because of the guaranteed 50-50, and the range is insane. Like, the threat of Zangief's grab is so scary because it's so far in almost every game he's in. So, you're always in danger. Okay.
Yeah, that's his main perk. It's the range on his throws.
Right. That's the main reason to play Gief. Okay, so to the wish list now. Things that we want for Zangief. All buffs, by the way. I don't think there's any nerfs that we've asked in our list. So I think the first and easy one is to simply revert forward medium kick. That's Zangief's knee hop. Either make it to recover faster, or just revert it back to what it was before and make it recover 3 frames faster. I think with the input lag reduction that was recent patch makes this move useless. I feel like, I mean, you can still react to this move even when it recovered 3 frames faster. It's just that Zangief needs to, the opponent has to worry about something else besides just Zangief jumping or dashing, right? And it's just too easy to stop Zangief. It's like, Zangief has to have something to mix it up to get in. Otherwise, it's just too easy. Or he waits for a V trigger. So I think this is an easy thing for them to buff for Zangief. The next thing is increase the hitbox on Lariat again. And this is for, because we were thinking, we're talking about making it so, what if Zangief was able to combo crouching light punch again? and we're thinking about the repercussions of that. Or if we made it so Zangief can cancel his crouching light kick again, we're thinking about that. And, you know, one of the reasons why I would want one of those reverted is that, in case you guys don't know, when Zangief grabs you with a heavy SPD or an EX SPD, and he dashes forward, if he goes crouching light kick, crouching light punch, lariat, it won't work on every character. Which is a big problem, because that means some characters can just jump back and then not get as much damage as you'd hope for. And a part of that is because the lariat simply whiffs. So you can either make crouching jab jab work again, or increase the hitbox size on the lariat. So when Zangief holds forward, it will reach every character. And lariat still has a lot of recovery from the latest patches. He still won't get insane Oki from it. So
yeah, because like one of the problems, like you were mentioning, one of the problems with having him combo his jabs together, like crouching light punch, is that he's already very rewarded by landing a successful thick throw because of his SPD, the damage that he gets and the Oki that he gets. And so like the way Capcom was thinking, it's like, okay, we're not also let him have a full confirm into lariat,
right?
And, which is that's damage too. So like, of course, basically they changed it so that it's not as rewarding basically to land the jab. You have to commit to a crouching light kick into crouching light punch, which is a hit confirm in and of itself. Like you cannot just do 4 jabs and then you can just land whatever combo you want.
Right.
So it makes sense, thinking with that mentality. But then again, like you said, the combo that you get off of your crouching light kick is inconsistent.
Yes.
So basically, your reward is not there.
Yeah.
And it's not there for guessing right. So yeah, that definitely should be fixed.
So yeah, fixing the hitbox on the lariat is the best way to give him that Oki back, while still sticking to what Capcom intended for him not to get too much mileage off a crouching jab. Because after every crouching jab from Zangief, there's an SPD that can potentially come out, right? But if he's
even after 2 crouching jabs,
but if he's doing after 2, you're still in danger. So if Zangief lands it, he's obviously just gonna convert into lariat, right? Because it's a hit confirm at that point. So yeah. Okay, so the next thing, this one is, I wouldn't say complicated, but it's not intuitive, but it's something that me and Mira would want. We've been asking for this for a long time, but we want Zangief to be able to regain the gray health faster. In general, I wouldn't mind it across the board. So the gray health, it regains at a steady pace. It'll never speed up. But I would like it, or we would like it, so that the longer it's regenerating, the more it speeds up over time. And that universal change would help Zangief. That's why I say it's not intuitive, because, if we can't just have it for Zangief only, it doesn't really make sense. Another thing, too, is the V-skill not taking... And there's another way we can do it, is the V-skill not taking the full gray health damage. So when Zangief absorbs something with V-skill, it's not like 100% of the damage is turned to gray health. That's another way. Also, once again, doesn't sound super intuitive. But at the end of the day, like, what me and Mira want is his V-skill to not be so punishing to use, I guess.
Yeah, because it's just a very big commitment, It's basically like eating an attack without suffering the hit stun. That's kind of like the idea, because you're getting that full brunt of the attack as gray health.
Yeah. And
so, like, just getting hit by a jab afterwards, it's like all your, all the ground that you gain is basically gone, especially, health-wise. And, I guess another way to buff it is to give even more V gauge so that you get your V trigger faster and then deal with the zoning more easily. But yeah, I'd rather have, V-skill have some kind of damage reduction stacked on top, the fact that it gives you great health, because it's just so dangerous, like we just said.
Yeah. There's another one, an easy one, Tundra Storm, Zangief's counter. Make it be able to counter more attacks. Like right now, it's very specific mid-kick attacks. Raise the range of attacks more, maybe mid-attacks in general. Kick attacks
maybe
in
all
general.
Kicks. Yeah.
I mean, something. Because that move, you just never see it. And it's very punishing. Like, he's in counter hit state,
Yeah, Yeah, just like other parries.
Yeah, and we're not asking to give it Oki. If you don't get Oki with it, if you land it, so I think it's not too much to ask. If this useless move that Capcom's added, you know, instead of Green Hand, but we'll get to that. Don't worry, guys.
Yeah, I would also say, like, going back to the lariat for a second.
Yeah.
Which I forgot to mention, but Zangief used to have two different kinds of lariats in past games: a fast lariat and a slow one.
Yeah.
And they had different kinds of properties.
Yeah.
So maybe adding a fast lariat could be, you know, especially if it has some projectile invincibility, it could help Zangief deal with some zoning better, because you're not forced to be in the lariat animation for the full duration, and you can go through a fireball with that.
That's a good idea, Amir. That's not in the notes. You didn't talk to me about this.
Oh, I had a stroke of genius.
Okay, moving on. Yeah, so we're thinking about helping him with his zoning. Of course, we don't want Zangief to be impervious to zoning. Obviously, that's supposed to be his biggest weakness. We don't want him to... Even zoners can't zone him out. But one thing that would help him is his forward heart punch. Make it be able to neutralize projectiles sooner. So he's not totally on the active frame, the later active frames where his head's completely forward. Make it neutralize projectiles during some of the startup too, I think would be good. Because he's not gaining ground anyways, he's just gaining meter. Right? And it'll be easier to time. Or make his headbutt recover faster, and therefore he'll be able to gain some ground on some zoners that aren't Guile. You know?
Yeah, because so, like, Zangief definitely struggles with projectiles when he cannot use his forward heart punch. When you're at that closer range where, you know, your forward heart punch is just not fast enough to deal with projectiles, you have to throw it out predictably, and that, you know, could mean even getting jumped in on, so that's kind of risky. Especially when you compare to characters like Abigail that have, you know, back heart punch is much faster, for example, for Abigail, than Zangief's forward heart punch. And you can also deal with 2-hit projectiles, which is something that Zangief can't do with his forward heart punch. Like, he has to use the V skill, and it's much more dangerous because it takes damage. Well, great health, but
yeah,
buffing forward heart punch, I hardly think it'd be a problem.
Okay, and finally with his V triggers, I think his V triggers are fine, honestly. Mir, would you change anything? I think they're in an okay spot.
I mean, V trigger 1 is a really good V trigger to deal with zoning, and it's fair that it's 3 bars because it is pretty strong.
Right.
But V trigger 2, I mean, I feel like it's a bit lackluster, because I understand that it's meant to be used in matchups where you don't need V trigger 1, which is basically no matchup, but
no, man, Zangief players use it. It's okay.
You can make it so that once you activate it, it lasts a little bit longer, because if you want to use it in a matchup where you might get zoned out, there's like lots of situations where you just activate your V trigger and that does nothing for you in the sense of helping you with zoning. And so you just get zoned out for 15-20 seconds and it just expires, and you're like, okay, great. I didn't get anything out of this.
So raise the duration of V trigger too.
Yeah, just make it a little bit last a little bit longer, because this won't change its usage in matchups where Zangief already wins, because he's gonna use it regardless. So that would help V trigger 2 be a little bit more viable of a choice in matchups where you might get zoned out. I don't think that would be like a big change, but it would be nice.
Okay. Well, before we close up this video, guys, obviously I'm gonna mention Green Hand here. You guys are probably wondering why we haven't said Green Hand. It's like everyone's been asking for Green Hand for Zangief every season. And as it would be cool if Zangief finally does get Green Hand, that would obviously help him both in his neutral, approaching the opponent, deal with zoners, many things, because it's a staple move the character has had for a while now, but it just didn't appear in Street Fighter V. I'm not mentioning it because I don't know what Capcom wants to do with Green Hand. I think that if they wanted to add it, they would have added it by now. There's two cases. One, they want to try to design Zangief without giving him Green Hand, using this V-skill or whatever, the Street Fighter V way. The other thing is that maybe Capcom is saving his Green Hand for his second V-skill, if a second V-skill is going to be a thing, and it's just a placeholder, and that's why they haven't mentioned it. I'm not sure. I just don't really want to talk about it if it's not in the game, kind of thing, right? Like I said, if I want them to add green hand, then we have to change our wish list how it works. Because like I said, the green hand solves a lot of problems with that as well. But it is one way for Capcom to definitely buff the character and put him on the map. Is green hand.
It just changes the way he plays basically, because in Street Fighter 5, like the way Zangief plays is based around the fact that he doesn't have green hand, and he has to use V-Skill instead.
Exactly.
So it's just a completely different playstyle. I don't know like the consequences of such a change, you know, if they were to add green hand.
Right.
Like maybe they'd make Zangief super strong. Who knows? you know?
Who knows? All right, guys. Let us know in the comments below. What do you think about Zangief? Is he in a good spot right now? He's not. But what would you guys like to add to the character?
That's a rigged question.
In before a million green hand comments. Here they come. Do us a solid, guys. Please like the video and of course subscribe to the channel. And me and Mira will have some more wishlist videos coming your way until Season 4 is announced. So thanks a lot for listening, guys, and take care.